There was a time when this city was meant to continue, not forever, but long enough to matter. Buildings were constructed with intention. Streets were laid out to guide movement. Signs were placed to be read. Windows were meant to be looked through. Everything here was designed for presence. Now it exists without it. The streets are still here. They stretch forward as if expecting traffic, but nothing arrives. No footsteps echo between the buildings. No engines disturb the air. The roads remain open, waiting for a purpose that never returned. This city was not destroyed. It was not erased. It was simply left behind. The buildings stand intact. Walls remain upright. Windows still face the street, but they no longer observe anything. Inside, rooms sit in silence. Furniture stays where it was last placed. Dust settles slowly, undisturbed by movement or time. Nothing has collapsed, yet nothing feels alive. There are signs everywhere. Street names, directions, warnings. They continue to point, even though there is no one left to follow them. Messages written for a future that never arrived remain visible, slowly fading under the sun. Some places feel unfinished, not because construction stopped, but because life did. Doors remain closed, not locked, just untouched. Shops display empty interiors. Windows reflect light without curiosity. Nothing asks to be entered. This city does not feel abandoned in a hurry. There are no signs of panic, no evidence of sudden escape, no urgency frozen in place. It feels as though leaving was a decision made slowly, over time. One absence followed another, until nothing remained. The air here carries no noise, not silence as an absence of sound, but silence as a presence of its own. It fills the streets. It settles into corners. It presses gently against everything that remains. The city listens, but nothing speaks back. Time moves differently here. Days pass without significance. Light shifts across empty surfaces. Shadows grow long and retreat again. Nothing reacts. The city does not age dramatically. It simply waits without expectation. There are places that were clearly meant to gather people. Open spaces, intersections, rooms designed for conversation. They remain open, holding space for voices that no longer arrive. What once mattered here has already happened. This place was not meant to become a memory. It was built for continuity, for routine, for repetition. Yet continuity requires participation, and repetition requires return. Neither happened. There is no clear reason why this city was never rebuilt. No explanation left behind. No final message. Only structures that suggest intention, an absence that suggests conclusion. The city does not ask to be remembered. It does not demand attention. It does not resist forgetting. It simply remains, existing beyond relevance. From a distance, the city still looks complete. From within, it feels finished, not destroyed, not damaged, just concluded. Some places are left because they are no longer needed. Others are left because the world moves on. This city belongs to neither. It was left because nothing brought anyone back. There will be no reconstruction here, no return of traffic, no reopening of doors. The city does not expect it. Its purpose has already passed. In the end, this is not a story about loss. It is a story about endings that arrive quietly, without resistance. A city that was never rebuilt because no one returned to begin again. There are systems here that no longer function, but remain intact. Traffic lights still hang above intersections. Signals designed to control movement continue to exist without purpose. They do not change. They do not fail. They simply remain irrelevant. Sidewalks stretch forward, their paths uninterrupted by footsteps. Crosswalk lines fade slowly, not from use but from exposure. This city was built to be navigated. Every corner suggests direction. Every surface implies movement, yet nothing moves. Inside the buildings, the arrangement of space still makes sense. Rooms connect logically. Hallways guide attention forward. Stairs lead upward, even though no one climbs them. Nothing here feels random, which makes the absence harder to ignore. Some objects were clearly left behind on purpose, not abandoned in panic, but forgotten through indifference. A chair positioned slightly away from a table. A door left partially open. Curtains frozen in a position they never adjusted again. Small decisions made permanent by lack of return. This city did not decay quickly. It aged quietly without witnesses. Weather passed through gently. Dust accumulated evenly. Light continued to enter rooms that no longer reacted to it. Time did not rush this place. It allowed it to settle. The longer the city remained unused, the less it resisted being forgotten. Purpose faded first. Meaning followed shortly after. Only structure remained. There are places like this that exist between abandonment and erasure. They are not ruins. They are not preserved. They are simply pause without expectation of continuation. At some point, the city stopped being a place. It became a condition, a reminder of what happens when participation ends. Not everything disappears when it is no longer used. Some things remain visible long after they stop being relevant. This city is one of them. There is no evidence of return, no signs of preparation, no attempts at restoration. Nothing suggests that this place is waiting. It is not. The silence here does not feel temporary. It feels resolved, as if the city reached its final form without needing to collapse. Nothing broke. Nothing exploded. Nothing demanded attention. It simply ended. From above, the city still appears organized. From within, it feels complete. Not complete in function, but complete in conclusion. Some endings arrive loudly, forcing themselves into memory. Others arrive quietly, allowing the world to continue uninterrupted. This city belongs to the second kind. There will be no moment of realization, no final understanding, only distance, and eventually forgetting. A city that was never rebuilt does not ask to be explained. It only proves that continuation is never guaranteed. At some point, the city stopped waiting, not for people, not for repair, not for explanation. It accepted its condition without resistance. The streets no longer expect movement. The buildings no longer anticipate use. Nothing here prepares for return. What remains is not emptiness, but stillness. A stillness shaped by design, by intention, by things built to last longer than the reasons behind them. This place does not feel broken. It feels concluded, as if the city reached the end of its purpose and chose not to continue beyond it. There is no tragedy in that, only certainty. Some structures are meant to support life. Others exist long enough to witness its absence. This city became the latter, and perhaps that is why it feels complete. Not because it survived, but because it no longer needs to. Nothing here asks to begin again. The city does not imagine a future for itself. It does not prepare for renewal. It remains exactly as it is, without urgency. What once functioned here has already completed its role, and in that completion, there is no loss. Only the quiet certainty that some places are allowed to end without needing to return.